Good morning, guys. Can you hear me? Can you please confirm someone? Were you able to hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. You are able to see the screen? Yeah, okay. So, hi, my name is Krishna. Coming to my expertise in trainings on Azure DevOps and in IT industry, I have been working with big 4 MNCs since 9 years. Okay, and coming to the trainings, apart from the corporate trainings, I have been giving the trainings in my personal institute. Then coming to the technologies which I work like initially when I started my career, I used to work on the .NET part. Then I have got a chance to work with the Azure DevOps part. It's been since it is a Microsoft product also, I have got a chance to work with Azure DevOps. So that's about my introduction. So coming to DevOps, basically, I would warm welcome you all of you to this Azure DevOps workshop. Basically, so in this workshop we are going to discuss about what are the DevOps, basically why the DevOps is needed in this IT industries, basically. Okay, so what are the problems it will solve, basically why the demand of a DevOps, so much demand it's been created in the IT industry so far, right? So all those things we can discuss one by one. So let me get it brief about what is DevOps. Okay, what is DevOps, then why DevOps need in IT, right? Okay, why DevOps is needed in IT, then advantages of using DevOps. Okay, then coming to software development lifecycle in terms of SDLC. What topic is SDLC approach? SDLC approach for DevOps stages. Okay, then demand in the market. When we learn something, so that it should be useful for throughout the life, or how, whether the sustainability of this tool or any technology, how far it is, demand of DevOps. Okay, then coming to Azure DevOps, comparison of comparison of Azure DevOps with other cloud platforms. Okay, other cloud platforms you can say. Then job offers 9. Finally, the ultimate goal of learning something is for salaries, right? Salaries for DevOps engineers. Okay. Please forgive me if there are any spell mistakes, right? Fine. So basically, what is DevOps? So as you all know, in IT industry, when any project comes to the any of the company or organization, okay, so the project planning will take place, right? So in the project planning, basically all the team members like developers, testers, designers, business analysts, so all those people will be participating in the project planning also. Okay, whether they are able to deliver this application or product by the any of the team or not, whether they have a sufficient resources to deliver within the planned time, estimated time for the client requirements. So all those things they will be discussing. So now DevOps basically it is a process. Okay, it is not any technique or any technology or any tool something to learn. Okay, it is a process of people, product, then what else, what they will do with the people and process, they will deliver the some of the products, right? So with the people and process, what they need to do, they have to deliver something or product, working software, working application to the client at the end of the day. Okay, so that is why the DevOps is a collaboration between the development team and operations team. Okay, let's say what we will consider in any organization. Okay, in any organization. So for example, okay, what will take TCS. Why I'm taking TCS is the organization, since it is a famous company as you all know. I'm taking the example of TCS. Okay, Tata Consultancy Services. Okay, now TCS organization is there. Then some of the application, let's say IRCTC. Okay, IRCTC application is there. Now, since you all know to register, login, and train bookings and all, we can do with IRCTC application. So any application, when it comes to any organization, okay, they has to do some of the activities. Okay. Okay. IRCTC people approaches some of the companies like TCS, Infosys, then what else? Accenture, Cognizant. So all these companies they will approach. So according to their estimation, okay, based on their resources availability, technical expertise, they will give some of the estimations to the IRCTC client. Okay. Now who is the client here? We can say TCS is the organization, that is the IT industry. Okay. You can say IT industry, right? The IRCTC is now who is the client. Okay, client we can say, or end users. End users is nothing but whoever is using the IRCTC application, like the citizens, those who wanted to book the tickets, they are called as end users. Okay, for example, for Facebook application, we are the end users. Those who are using the Facebook application, they are called as end users. Okay, so now when any application or any require client, when it approaches to the company, they has to do some of the activities. Okay, so what are the activities we can say? What are the activities? One is planning, right? Planning they have to do. After that, planning, what they will do? Design. After designing the application, coding, So these are the multiple stages of the software development lifecycle. Okay, in the coding, after coding, what they will do? They has to do testing. After testing, deployment into servers. Okay, deployment into multiple environments. We can say multiple environments. Environment is nothing but there are 4 environments typically for every company organization follows. One is a dev environment that we will discuss later part of the session, right? After deployment, what they have to do? Monitor, right? So all these are all parts of the project planning. Okay, so in the planning activities, all the team members will be collaborating or communicating or gathering together to discuss about the project requirements. Okay, what are the pages they wanted to deliver, how many days it will take based on their resources availability. So all these things they will do. In the design level, what all the things they will do in design level? Algorithms, flow charts, then architecture. So all those things they will be done in the design level of this application. Then coding, when all the design or planning requirement gathering is done, developers will do coding. Let's say registration page they have to develop. Okay, according to the resources technical expertise, they will develop either by using any other languages or Java, .NET, Python, C++ or any other languages they will use for coding. Now when it comes to testing, so testing after implementing any of the feature, just let's say login page or registration page or any train search, train booking, all these pages will be tested thoroughly by the testing team here, right? When it comes to deployment, in this stage, the developed application, once it is tested by the testing team, it will be sending it into the multiple environments. Okay, multiple environments in the sense we will see what are the available environments according to the companies. Okay, we'll take one is dev environment, another one is QEAT, this environment QEAT, production environment. Okay, so now each and every environment will be having some specialty or some of the activities they will be doing in each and every environment. Okay, don't confuse between these environments. Okay, you no need to worry, we can discuss in detail in the normal sessions. Fine. So dev environment, what are the activities they will do? The name itself clearly represents development environment. When any application is developing by the developers at this stage, they will call it as a development environment, that is dev environment. Okay, here the developers will do some of the coding and they will do unit testing and all. Then when it comes to QAT, okay, once the development feature is done, the application or code will be moving it into QAT environment. Okay, so in QAT environment, what and all they will do? Quality assurance testing. QAT is nothing but quality assurance testing. The client will be given some of the thorough testing test cases to be tested by the testers. Okay, what are the features they have developed? Whether the, let's say for example, login page, if you take, the username should not start with numerics, or username should not start with special characters, or username should not contain special characters or something like that. The testers will be testing thoroughly. Okay, so once the testing has been done, it will be moving it into another stage, that is the another environment, that is a user acceptance testing. Okay, UAT is nothing but user acceptance testing. Okay, so here in this UAT environment, once the testing application has been done, the end users, who are all the end users? Those who wanted to use the application as per their estimation, as per their requirement, whether it is working fine or not, they will check the particular implemented application in the UAT environment. Okay, so now After completion of the UAT environment, let's say the application is delivered to the UAT and it will be tested by the end users also, right? Then finally it will be going it into production. Fine. Production is nothing but, it is a live environment. When any application is readily available for the end users or the public, then that will be called as a production or live environment, we can say. Now Facebook application, if you take an example, okay, when any feature comes into the market, okay, it is available for the users to be used, right? So that is the production or live environment, we can say, right? So these are all the different kinds of environments. Environments is nothing but they will be having separate servers for maintaining each and every environment separately, and they will do some of the activities in each and every environment again, right? What if something goes wrong in the QAT or any UAT or production, again it will go back to the development environment. Okay, so this is the recycling process of for each and every development phases, right? So now in the deployment is nothing but, okay, when any application feature has been implemented, it will be moving it into dev environment or QAT environment or UAT environment or production environment. So this is called as, any of the application when it will be moving it into these phases, we can call, right? So now that is called as a deployment, deploying it into server basically. Now after deploying the servers, we have to make sure that the application is deployed is correctly or not, whether the application is up and running. You might have faced some of the applications will be down, when the maintenance is going on, or sometimes due to the performance of the application, it might go down, right? You might have observed the government website, okay, sometimes when the due date is closer, many of the applicant job aspirants will be applying to the approaching to the website so that the performance goes down. So all those things will be monitored whether the application is up and running or not in the monitoring phase of the application, right? So we have discussed some of the application project stages here, okay, and what are the environments are available for deploying the servers, right? Now we have clearly understood DevOps is nothing but a process. It is a process to be working with the people to deliver the working software or to deliver the product to the client. Okay, that is called as a DevOps basically. Okay, and even another example we can say, like for example, you can say for DevOps basically, in any of the organization, okay, there are two teams will be participating. One is development team, another one is operations team. Okay, so don't confuse between this development team, operations team, and all. We'll go discuss detail about this development teams, right? So in development team basically, let's say 4 developers are working, right? 4 developers are working. Developer 1, developer 2, developer 3, developer 4. Okay, so developer 1, developer 2, developer 3, developer 4. Okay, so now 4 developers are working in a team. Let's say for example 4 developers are working in a team. Now they will be writing some of the lines of code, right? And each and every one will be writing some lines of code, right? Now when it comes to when it comes to integration part. Okay, so who will be doing the all the lines of code? Let's say developer 1 has committed 10 lines of code. Okay, developer 2 also committed 10 lines of code. Developer 3 also committed some lines of code. Developer 4 also has committed some lines of code. Okay, now lines of code we can say, right? Same thing. You can see. So now developer has implemented some 10 lines of code. Each 10 lines of code will be implemented by each and every developer. Let's say for a typical example. Now we can see completion of this development feature, who will be doing the integration part? Okay, integration in the sense every time they cannot they cannot integrate all these lines by manual, right? So let's say if you want to do manually by any person, okay, technical person has to be there again for integrating the things, right? To integrate these lines of code into a single unit, that is called as an integration, we can say, right? What is meant by integration? Integration is nothing but whatever the code or pieces of code which will be combined or collected together and placed in a single unit, that is called as integration, we can say. Okay, so now let's say I have an integration team separately to integrate the multiple developers code into a single unit. Fine. Now what happens if the developers team is increasing rapidly? Okay, let's say 10 developers are working, let's say 20 developers are working, 30 developers are working in the team. So it is a tedious task. It is a burden to the integration team to integrate all this code. Even while integrating, they might be facing so many issues. Which file we need to combine. Which line basically this file belongs to. So all these things will take a lot of time and effort. Even after putting all these efforts, manual integration doesn't give successful output. Okay, so now the beautiful DevOps tool, for example, Jenkins or TeamCity or Bamboo, some other tools are available. Okay, so all those tools will be there for continuous integration. Okay, continuous integration in the sense where developers are continually pushing their code into the repositories, okay, into the servers, and continuously it will be integrating with the master branches. Okay, don't worry about the repository master branches. Okay, we'll give brief about some of the repositories. Repository is nothing but it is a combination of files or folders or directories, okay, right? That is a source code of the developers team. So the integration part will be taken care by the Jenkins, right? That is the DevOps tool, we can say, right? So the DevOps tool, you have understood, by this time you might have understood, the integration, how much difficult if the developers are rapidly increasing and they will be continuously delivering some of the lines of code daily. On daily basis, how many developers will deliver some lines of code? So the same way, continuous integration so takes place automatically. As soon as developers write some of the code and they will push the repository, automatically the continuous integration takes place, okay, without intervention of any manual button or clicking of any button. So that is a beautiful application DevOps. Now we will see after integration, let's say what happens after integration. Basically they has to use many of these applications to be deployed into the servers, right? As I said, multiple environments are there. Okay, each and every environment contains dev environment. Okay, as I said, dev, qat, vat, production, right? So all these environments again they has to deploy. Why? Because each and every environment again they will be maintaining some of the activities. It will be tested by the qat team and UAT it will be tested by the user acceptance testing by the end users, then production environment will be available. Okay, so why the companies or organizations are maintaining these many servers, right? Okay, because to make the application independent. Okay, let's say the development team has developed some of the features, registration page and login page. Okay, when it moving it into the QAT team, okay, QAT server or QAT environment, application might fail, okay, due to several reasons. So to solve all these conflicts between the multiple environments and even development team and operations team, we will use the DevOps portion to separately maintain the source code. Okay, so that is why continuous deployment also takes place here, right? Now continuous integration is nothing but it will be combining all the developers code in single unit application, that is called as a integration. Continuous means without manual intervention, without manually doing the integration part, DevOps tool takes care of the integration of all these developers code basically. Okay, so that is the continuous integration. When it comes to continuous delivery, what happens after the completion of a delivery of the project? Client has to see the project application whether it is working fine or not as per their expectation. So for delivering the working software or working product to the client, we need to have continuous delivery. Okay, so every time some other DevOps engineer or yeah, if you are facing any issues, you can let me know. If you are not able to clear my voice, or you know, if I'm going fast, if you could not understand my language, like that, anything. Is it fine for everything? Okay, fine. Now yeah, okay, so now basically each and every time delivery team will not do delivering the application into multiple servers, fine. So developers team cannot wait for the operations team to deliver the things. Operations team cannot wait for the development team to give the working software, because they have their own work items to be work on the delivery of the working software. Okay, so that is why the integration and delivery plays a major role here in terms of satisfying the client requirements. Are available, right? So normally there are legacy software development skills are available. Still the companies are working on that. Okay, so in the waterfall model, okay, now in the agile methodology, okay, in the waterfall model, what happens? So in the waterfall model, requirement, gathering team will be participating here. After requirement gathering, design team will be participating. After design team, coding team or development team. Okay, development team will be participating. After development team, what else? Testing team. Okay. Then finally deployment team. Deployment team. So now requirements gathering team. In waterfall model, it is a one type of software development lifecycle approach they will follow while working with the multiple teams here. Okay, when any application or project, when it comes to the team, basically they will follow either waterfall model or any iteration model or hierarchical model or agile methodology. We will discuss each and every step here. What all activities they will be doing. Requirement gathering team and design team, development team, testing team, development team, deployment team. So all these 5 teams, they are working separately, individually. Okay, in the requirement gathering team, the business analyst will be participating in the organization. They will be taking the requirements from the client, how many pages they need actually, what are the even menus or sub menus they has to keep in the application pages. So what is the header page, what is the footer page, if they wanted to keep any logo of the application, their product, they can keep the logo and all. So all this clear specification requirement will be gathering by the requirement gathering team here. Now when it comes to design team, okay, once the requirement team has taken the requirement from the client, the design team will be starting their work. So now when requirement gathering team is working in the organization, all other teams except gathering team, let's say design team, development team, testing team, deployment team, all the other teams are sitting ideally, right? Now it is a burden to the company or any IT industry, to pay their salaries, right? If they don't have any productivity out of the working days, they will be paid salaries. That is a burden to the companies, even not only for the companies. By following this waterfall model or agile waterfall methodology to implement the software, there are many disadvantages we can discuss later part of the session, right? Now in the design team, after completion of the requirement gathering team, okay, let's say 2 months they have taken requirement gathering team, 2 months they have taken. The other team, let's say design team and development team, will be sitting ideally. When it comes to design team, after completion of the requirement gathering, okay, the design team only working all these days, like designing the application, how the flowcharts looks like, algorithms, what kind of algorithms they need to implement, and architect people, there will be higher management participating in the design team. Now even in the design team activities, other teams will not be participating in the design team activities. When it comes to development team, all the developers will start work in the development team, right? So when the developers are working, testing team will be sitting ideal, deployment team will be sitting ideal, design team will be sitting ideal, requirement gathering team will be sitting ideal. Now the development team takes some 4 or 5 months to deliver the working software. After implementing some of the features by the development team, it will be going into the testing team separately, right? So after testing the deploy application, it will be going into the deployment team, where they will deploy the working software into the servers, where clients can easily test their application and they can give their feedback. Okay, now we will see what are the disadvantages of using waterfall model, right? Okay, what are the disadvantages basically? Okay, one is, okay, if the working software is delivered by the end of the, let's say, quarter or half yearly or year, basically after working all these teams, they will be delivering the working software. Client satisfaction, okay, client satisfaction is the first priority. Fine, client satisfaction is the first priority. So here when we work with the application, lack of client satisfaction will be there automatically. Why? Because they are delivering this working software at the end of the year. Okay, let's say requirement gathering team is working 2 months, and after that design team will be working for 1 month or 2 months. Then development team takes a lot of effort, to implement all those features. Then let's say 4 or 5 months they will work, and the testing team will also work after 1 or 2 months after delivering the development features. Then deployment team will be working after testing the application. Finally, at the end of the year, let's say they have delivered some of the pages, some of the website to be working, and they will be giving a demo to the client, basically, right? Now see, the requirement gathering team has taken 1 year back the requirement from the client. Now what happens, client doesn't expect the things which he has already approached to the team, right? He has given some other requirements, but the development team has implemented some other features. Okay, now the working software is not up to his expectation, right? Is not up to client expectation. Okay, now if they wanted to rework the application again, it has to go through from the starting level of the application. So all these days they have put so many efforts and multiple teams working together. All these efforts has gone, has gone unused, right? So now at most the client satisfaction also is not satisfied. Now reworking has to take place, right? Reworking. So even for reworking, lot of efforts, reworking will be taking again lot of efforts. Okay, efforts in the sense, again it has to go through all these stages: requirement gathering stage, then design team stage, then development team, testing team, deployment team. So all these stages it has to go through if any reworking. What if the client thought that the buttons or pages or features might be the client might be thinking that no, my application would have been better if my application would contain some of the extra features like 3D buttons, 3D images, 3D logos kind of things. Okay, but here what happens, lack of communication also is one of the thing. Lack of communication gap. Okay, communication gap between client and between whom? Client and IT team. Okay, client and IT team, we can say, right? So don't worry about all these things. When when we are working and learning with the DevOps tools, you will be familiar with all these terminologies, right? So after delivering the working software, if the client is not satisfied, again they have to do some of the rework. Even after doing the rework, even a client will say, this month I need this feature. After delivering this again working software, maybe after 2-3 months, again he will say, no, I need these features to be implemented like this again. So the changes from the client also need stabilization. Okay, stabilization. So there are some of these disadvantages when we are working with the waterfall model. So some of the disadvantages from the IT industry also we can discuss, okay, by following this waterfall model, right? Now we have discussed the disadvantages from client side. even after working all these days, and we have put a lot of efforts by working with the multiple teams, though we have not we have not got the better appreciation from the client and all. Now what is the loss of loss to the companies? Loss, business loss, we can say, right? Business loss to IT industry, you can say, right? Now what are the losses, we can say, right? What is the first loss? Anyhow, the client satisfaction is not met. Okay. Now when multiple teams are working together, requirement gathering team is working now, then after working on the requirement gathering team, design team will be sitting ideal. So it is a cost effective, right? Since that the requirement gathering team is working alone, apart from the requirement gathering team, design team, development team, testing team, deployment team, all the teams will be sitting ideal. So they need to be paid salaries, right? So at the time of sitting ideal, what if the companies don't want to pay the salaries to the team members? They will leave the company. Simple, right? So to retain the employees throughout the application delivery, companies has to maintain all the other teams also, though they don't have any work, right? Now it is a burden to the companies, so that is why we can include in cost effective. Okay. Now after completion of the requirement gathering team, design team, development team, testing team, what if the development team is not developed properly, whatever the requirement gathering team has given? Okay, again that has to be rework. Okay, so now here again what is happening? Lack of communication is nothing but it's not a communication skills which we are talking or while dealing with other team members. Communication in the sense, when other team members are working, let's say development team are working, if they have any doubts, let's say development feature, login page or registration page, what are the required features they need to be given perfectly? If they misunderstood the feature, then that might be the problem. So that is, we can call it as lack of communication. Okay, communication gap, we can say, lack of communication or communication gap between the team members. Okay. Now after development team, the testing has to be done. If any failures of the testing team in the testing stage, again it has to be reworked by the development team now, right? So rework needed when feature or any product, okay, we can say product is not implemented correctly, okay, is not implemented as expected, we can say, okay, as expected. So all these activities, they has to do these features. So there are many disadvantages using waterfall model. Why still some of the companies they are using still waterfall model? You might have doubt, right? Now if they wanted to move it into any other model, the resources should be available and they has to adopt the some other new activities they has to do. That is called as agile methodology nowadays. Okay. Now agile methodology, we will discuss what is meant by agile methodology. It is a process where in daily life activities, all the teams working together, the agile methodology makes sure that they will participate in one platform and they will discuss together and they will work together and they will deliver the working software together to the client at the end of the sprint or any 2 weeks of the span of the time, we can say. So all these problems whatever are there in the waterfall methodology, when they are working with the application, they will see, they will overcome it in the agile methodology. So when companies or any organizations, when they follow agile methodology, it is a very beneficial to the even IT industry or even for even for client satisfaction, right? So now we will discuss what are the activities or the agile methodology they will follow. Okay, agile methodology they will be following some of the sprints. Okay, sprint 1, sprint 2, sprint 3, sprint 4, like that. Okay, when it comes to sprint 1, okay, so don't worry about these sprints. Okay, so in terms of solving all these problems in waterfall model, the agile methodology follows some of the sprints. Sprint in the sense 2 weeks of the working days, 2 weeks working days, normally 2 weeks of the span, 2 weeks of a time they will do. Sprint 1 and sprint 2 and sprint 3 also same, for same activities they will be doing. Okay, so sprint 2, what happens? Sprint 2 also 2 weeks of the sprint. Now in the sprint 1, all the team, okay, not only requirement gathering team, development team, testing team, separately they will not work. Okay, all the team members, those who are part of the application development, they will be working together in the sprint wise manner. Okay, sprint 1 means 2 weeks of the sprint, and they will be coming into the discussion team also. Hello, can you hear me? If you are facing any voice issues, if you could not hear, you can let me know. Fine. Can you all hear me? Okay. So in the sprint 1, basically, yeah. So in the sprint 1, basically, all the team members, instead of working alone, independently, okay, they will come to the platform that is called as a daily scrum. Okay, daily at a particular stipulated time, they will be meeting. Like they will not be meeting physically, depends on the virtual locations. Okay, they will be having some of the meetings at a particular time, where they will be discussing what are the activities they are doing. If they have any blockages to proceed further, they can raise their concern in the daily scrum. Okay, that can be called as a daily scrum. So some of the activities they will do in the daily scrum, like they will be telling what went good, and what is the current work item status, whether they are able to progress or not, if they need some help or any queries to be asked from the business team or business analyst team or any client specification, they can raise their concern in the daily scrum. So what happens now, when they are meeting daily in the team, they could progress easily. Their concerns also will be addressed very easily, so that they can progress and they can deliver the working software very easily to the client at the end of the sprint 1. Now what happens at the end of the sprint 1, some of the delivery working software will be delivered. What they will deliver? Some of the working software in each and every sprint. Okay, what they will deliver at the end of the sprint? Some of the working feature, working product, you can say, right? After even this sprint 2 also, they will be providing the working software or working product to the client, right? So now you can observe, in waterfall model, we have delivered the working software at the end of the year, right? In sprint model or agile methodology, we have delivered working software at the end of the, at the end of the where? Sprint. Okay, after completion of the 2 weeks sprint, we have delivered some of the working software. Now we can imagine the client will be satisfied very easily, because we are giving demos and meetings, presentations to the clients at the every sprint 1. Okay, based on their client availability, we can give our presentation, what and all features we have developed, and the development team or project managers, they will be presenting the working feature or working product to the sprint 1 at the end of the sprint 1. Okay, so now even at the starting of the sprint, what and all they have activities, like sprint planning will be there. In the sprint planning, every sprint they will have some of the features to be implemented separately. Okay, that they will discuss whether they can deliver this working software, whether the registration page we can deliver with the available resources or not. Okay, so all those things they can plan in the sprint planning, you can say, right? In the sprint retrospective, after completion of the sprint one, okay, they will retrospect, whatever they have done, okay, what all activities they have done, whether they have delivered the working software as per their expectation. Okay, after delivering the working software, whether they can get the good feedback or not, whether they can rework on the the reviewed by the comments given by the client. Okay, and if any new team member has been joined into the team, any trainings or any product business cases or any knowledge sharing sessions needs to be conducted for the new team member, like that. So all these things, concerns, problems, okay, all those things can be addressed in the sprint retrospective, so that they could deliver the more productivity or working software to the client at the end of the sprint, in the upcoming sprint, so that they will overcome all the problems, okay, in the waterfall model by following the agile methodology, right? So now we have understood waterfall model or agile methodology very clearly. Now, why we have discussed these models? Basically, as a DevOps engineer, why we should know all these things? Okay, so agile methodology is a collaboration with DevOps, basically. So in continuous delivery and continuous integration part, when the teams are working together and delivering the working software at the end of the sprint one, okay, they need to maintain a lot of things actually. Okay, what are the work items they have to create, and what are the features they will implement for the particular sprint, and what is the status of the progress, like whether they could deliver or not, and whether it is the particular feature is being tested properly or not. So all those things can be, has to be traced or to be maintained separately in any of the tools. Okay, so we will see what are the tools available for the DevOps. Okay, what are the tools are available? Basically, I can say Jenkins is the one tool. Then Git or GitHub, you can say. Fine. Any other tools? Git or GitHub, we can say. Then what else other tools are available for Jenkins? Jira will be there. Fine. Then what are the tools? Different tools we can use in DevOps engineer. TeamCity or Bamboo, we can say. Docker. Fine. Docker, Kubernetes. Then for project managers to plan the resources, whether they have available resources or not, how many hours they are spending to our team, like that. Okay, if they don't have any available resources, they can buy some of the resources from other team for a particular time. So all those team, Visio or Draw.io will be there. Okay, Draw.io. So Visio tool or Draw.io tool for project managers, it will be useful. Now when it comes to Jenkins, okay, in the Jenkins, what all activities they will do normally? For continuous integration, continuous deployment, continuous delivery, they will use Jenkins. And if they wanted to have continuous testing also, they have to use Selenium, right? Selenium team separately, right? So for continuous delivery or continuous integration, they will use Jenkins. For Git, pushing the code, connecting to the remote repository, local repository, they will use Git or GitHub. Okay, for maintaining bug tracking tool. Okay, for maintaining the work items, which work item has been assigned to which developer, to track, to trace all those information, they will use Jira. And coming to Docker, Kubernetes, Docker and Kubernetes also will be playing major role in the DevOps role. The Docker, basically, when the application size grows bigger, it is a burden to the servers to maintain those many of the sizes. We will extract the image out of the application and we can store it in a single application, that is called in the form of microservices, that is Dockerization. Okay, in the Kubernetes, orchestration will be there, containerization. Then containerization also we have discussed, Docker or containerization is same. Then coming to project managers. Okay, so to trace or track how many team members are working in this week, if any team member is not available, whether they wanted to trace all those information, they can use burn up charts or burn down charts. They can use by using Visio tool or Draw tool. And for continuous testing also, Selenium they has to do. Okay, Selenium test cases they will implement for continuous testing. So these are the some available or will be used by the DevOps engineers. So what if we have all these tools integrated into a single unit? Okay, single unit. Basically Jenkins is not required, GitHub is not required, Jira is not required. Okay, Selenium is not required separately. So what if we have all these features integrated into a single unit? Okay, except Docker and Kubernetes. Even we can integrate Docker Kubernetes to Azure DevOps. So to keep all these things the single unit, okay, you can say single unit, that is Azure DevOps. Okay, Azure DevOps. Okay, Azure DevOps is a combination of Jenkins tool. Okay, what are the activities you will do? Jenkins tool, CI/CD pipeline we can create in Azure DevOps itself. Git we can integrate with Azure DevOps. Then Jira, without using Jira we can have boards, Azure boards to maintain the Agile methodology in our only Azure DevOps. Then Docker also we can integrate. Visio tool, Draw tool. Instead of using Visio tool or Draw tool, single-handedly we can use our own burn up that and burn down charts in the Azure DevOps. I will walk you through of this Azure DevOps, how the application looks like. Okay. Yeah. So this is how the when you go to the dev.azure.com application, you can register, you can log in as like you log in with Facebook application. The same way you can have the organization, multiple organization we can create. Okay, and we can have our own settings like what is the organization name, then URL description, everything you can put, regions, who is the organization owner here, you can keep all those things. So in the organization settings, right? When it comes to projects, okay, you can create our own project. Okay, any phase one project you can keep, you can give the description, it is a Facebook application. Then we can have visibilities like public visibility and private visibility. There are two types of visibilities are available provided by the Azure DevOps. Like private repositories or private projects, they will create mostly by the organizations, basically to maintain the security, to provide the security from the external sources, from the other people. So that is why they will create private repositories. Fine. So now when it comes to any of the application, okay, after creation of the project, we can see the boards here. Boards is nothing but when you go to the work items, boards, backlogs, sprints, queries, delivery plans will be there. When we go to the work items, basically this is the replacement of Jira. Instead of using Jira separately, all the work items you can create here. Okay, there are multiple work items like bug will be there, epic, feature, and impediment, task, test cases, and so you no need to worry about all these different kinds of new work items. Based on the bugs, the bug will be created. If any bigger feature, let's say the one of the big product or any component they wanted to implement, they will create it as a epic corner. Then the epic will be divided into multiple subtasks. Okay, that is called as a task, and the different features will be implemented in by using the feature like this. So as of now, we'll create one epic. how can we use the Epic. So this Azure DevOps, everybody can work, everybody can use this Azure DevOps, starting from the project manager, okay, any layman, any unused unknown person also they can use very easily. It is like, as similar to the using the Android mobile. Okay, so that is how the beautiful Azure DevOps application has been implemented by the Microsoft. Okay, now